let's continue on with the Caterham Academy. It's the white group this time. And have you noticed some of these fantastic license plates that these guys have? I love the banter in this paddock. You've got all the way to Minty, Mooney, Too Bald over there, the Apex Predator, and someone's put far too old. Love the Caterhams, they're amazing. Right, let's get down to the serious business, because obviously we've got the White Academy drivers about to head out. Will James on pole position for this one. Will, another fantastic opportunity in 2021 to showcase the skills.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, look, really excited for this one. Pole was a surprise, being honest with you. It is sort of mixed conditions, so really lucky really in this one. There's nothing between us, so kudos to the guys in pole with me, going in the sort of top of the grid.
I mean, I guess that's kind of the point in this first season of racing, to kind of throw you all in there, be competitive, and see who floats at the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly. It's at the end of the day, it's all fun. It's all good fun, but yeah, it's good to just push your own abilities and almost watching everyone grow as well around you and their abilities and skills. Because when you first start off, there's obviously, it becomes far more a level playing field as we're getting now to the stage we are in the championship. So yeah, gonna have a serious battle today. I could tell. I was just going to say, having seen the difference in the weather and the diversity of the drivers out there, this could be a real humdinger. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 20th of a second between myself, Harry, and Charlie. So yeah, I think if we all get a fairly decent start, I think hopefully it's going to be a really good race today. Fair play. Looking forward to seeing what you can do. Cheers, mate. It's amazing in this academy. What you have to realise as well with the academy is that drivers are waiting for up to and including 18 months on the waiting list to get into this. It's so popular and so heavily subscribed. I would have gone and had a word with Harry George. We can see he's already put the window up, so he clearly doesn't want to get any distractions. Alongside him there as well, you've got Charlie Lower, third position. All the drivers here obviously still very much tiptoeing into the world of motor racing at this front level. Benja Headley running well, James Moon in there as well, the competitors all wanting to have a bit of a different race. But because of the weather we had earlier in the qualifying, some of the drivers are out of position from where they were hoping to be. Others have been given the chance to come forward and shine. So depending on what the weather does, Scott, there could be one or two drivers who get a very tasty result out of this one.
We get set for our next race here at Brands Hatch. It's our second to last race of today, that being the second to last Caterham race of today as well, because we've had all our extra supporting stuff that's already had their races, both the Avon Tyres National Formula Fords and the Classic and Modern Motorsport Club Super Sloughs and Tin Tops that we just saw. Yes, last two races in play for the Academy White Group and for the Caterham 7.3 Championship. Again, if you're just joining us back once again from your break here for those viewers on the Caterham stream, welcome back for the final parts. Two more races for Caterham Motorsports, a set of 5 championships, the second race for the Academy Championship, and then we have our first race of the weekend for the 7.310R Championship to round off today. We're actually running about roughly 20 minutes ahead of schedule, which is incredible given some of the safety cars and also a couple of red flags that we had in qualifying earlier on through some of the various championships. But ever efficient work, ruthless efficiency from the BRSCC, as always, to keep ourselves up on time. And it's going to be quite an exciting way to end things. We've had quite a day of Caterham racing already throughout the season. And now we get to the stage where the second half of the season has been getting pretty tasty in terms of the connotations for championship points and who's been contention for the title, all the way through from start to finish. And getting towards the sharp end, it's where those drop scores start to come into play and they really start to count as well. So we've had one group for the Caterham Academy. We had the green group earlier on. Now it is the white group's turn. Just should mention that the Caterham Academy is sponsored by Love Cars. That's their media partner for this year. And for the white group, just a reminder, we've got William James, who leads the way in points, Harry George in second place, Charlie Lower is currently third, ahead of Giles Perry in fourth, and Richard Ainscoe, or there is a Richard Ainscoe who has raced before, but I believe it's it's a sibling of the Richard Ainscoe who has raced before, and he's not usually known as, he's down the registration as Richard J. Ainscoe, but his nickname is Rocco, so I'm going to refer to him as Rocco Ainscoe, given that's his nickname. So Rocco Ainscoe is currently in fifth, Benja Headley is sixth, Neil Perry seventh at the moment, from Gareth Lucas, Tom Noakes, and then it's Mike Banton rounding out the top 10 as the cars make their way out of the assembly area and onto the grid. So in terms of the gaps at the moment in those point standings, it's 119 points in the lead for William James, 115 in second place for Harry George. Charlie Lower is only a further 3 back. So on overall scores at the moment, 7 points covers the top 3. Then there's a gap to Giles Perry in 4th place with 93 points. 5th is Rocco Ainscoe with 84 points. There's a tie for 5th at the moment between Benja Headley and Neil Perry, and we'll go through to them in just a second because we're going to get through the grid. So, as a result of the grid for qualifying, it's going to be William James and Harry George in front of you. Charlie Lowe and Benja Headley come next, and James Moon and Tom Noakes on the 3rd row of the grid. Mark Janaszewski and Julian Roebuck then come next on row 4. And then rounding out the top 10, we've got Giles Perry and Mike Banton. As Jake said, there's a few drivers here who are a little bit out of position due to the weather conditions, so watch them pick their way through. Should be quite entertaining to watch. Simon Patel and Chris Roberts come next on the 6th row of the grid from Gareth Lucas, who's quite further back in row 7, alongside Neil Perry. Anil Patalia and Richard Lawrence on the 8th row, ahead of Ray Radford and Louise Deason. Then it's Alan Bateman and Lyndon Arnold rounding out the top 20, with the last 2 cars on the grid being Augustine Seyrac and David Saxby to round out the 22 car grid. You'll see the rest of the field sweeping through your screen in a moment just to see where everyone lines up on the 11 rows of this grid. So getting set for today's second Caterham Academy race. We had, of course, the green group race, which was taken by Freddie Chinnix. So now it's time for the white group to do so. In terms of the battle in this championship at the moment, victory-wise, Charlie Lower started the season off with a win in the Cobra Sprint, but then ever since then, the wins have been shared out between those 3 drivers. We had a win for William James at Mallory Park. We had a win each for William James and Harry George. So William James has taken 2 victories this season, one at Mallory and the first one at Knockhill. And those two had a real fantastic scrap battle amongst each other at Knockhill, where they took a win apiece and a second place apiece. And then both of them were beaten by Charlie Lower on track. So far we've had 3 different race winners, that being Charlie Lower, William James and Harry George. And of course, quite fittingly, they're all in the top 3 positions at the front of the field. So green flag flies, which means we set the cars off for their formation lap. I think William James was quite keen to get off the line, whilst Harry George was possibly a little bit asleep, trying to get away once more. Either that, or William James realised, oh wait, I'm on a formation lap, not the actual race start. But hopefully that was just the former. He was kind of just that keen to get off the line and get some distance between the rest of him, so he could weave from side to side and get his tyres warmed up in peace. But either way, this should be quite fun to watch. Of course, for those who are following Caterham, of course there are still some more rounds left to come. We've got in Croft in September, we've got the next rounds on September 4th and 5th, so we venture from the southeast of Brands Hatch up to the north of Croft in North Yorkshire. Then from that, just after that, the one championship that won't be in North Yorkshire is the Caterham 7 Championship UK, because they're going to be out a week later at Alton Park as part of the support package for the British GT Championship that weekend. So that will be fun to see them back on the support title of one of the biggest championships in the country. And then we move forwards into the run into the end of the season. The Academy will finish up at Snetterton on October the 8th, 9th. It'll be in early October they finish their season. But of course after that it's not completely the end for Caterham, because of course they have their final round for the rest of their championships. Will be at Cabwell Park on the 23rd and 24th of October to finish off what's been quite a long but obviously quite enjoyable season all the way through. So I think 6th place man Tom Noakes was a little bit out of position there. He sort of went to move upon the 8th grid position, then realised, wait, that's my grid spot in front of me. So he's pulled himself in front. So looking at the colour identification, we've got the predominantly turquoise car with the pink roll bar. That is William James. Harry George's car is the white car. I believe it has 2 blue racing stripes down the middle. Charlie Lower then comes next, and looks like the darker blue car. The brighter blue car is Benja Headley on the outside of the second row. The lighter blue car with the red roll bar, that is James Moon, and Tom Noakes in the mint-coloured Caterham will start in 6th on the grid. 22 cars all set to get underway. Green flag at the back. Ready to go for the Caterham Academy Green Group race here at Brands Hatch. Away we go. Nice sprint away from the line for William James. A cracking start just as he got from his formation lap in many cases. But a rocket-propelled start from Tom Noakes. He's up from 6th on the grid, up to challenge for 3rd into turn 1. He's side by side with Benja Headley. Benji will try and get him round the outside if he can, and also in there too is Charlie Lowe in the black and blue car. He's back, put him back down to 4th place, but a great jump from the 3rd row of the grid for Tom Noakes as he gets himself up into the first few corners. But already trying to escape up the road appears to be both William James and Harry George, and they're at it again like they were at Knock Hill a couple of meetings ago. So out through Graham Hill Bend for the first time. There is 20 and 27. That's Mark Janaszewski scrapping away with Simon Patel. So a strong start for Simon. He gives him into the top 10. That's plenty already amongst that top 10. Benji Headley then with the mix. Oh, round goes one car in the middle of the pack. Sends cars scattering. That was 71 that went around. That was Giles Perry facing the wrong way. Simon Patel. That would have given him a fright watching a whole pack of cases come towards him. But thankfully they all missed him. Down the pit straight. It is then going to be, as we see, Giles Perry get back underway again. 3 abreast for 5th position. They get it inside of all. Then there was James Moon. So it looks like Moon's got through in car 97. He's managed to squeeze his way past. As they come back up the hill again, Tom Noakes was trying to get back through again. But they're going to hold on for the time being. So William James leads. Harry George is 2nd place. Benji Headley is 3rd. Charlie Lowe is into 4th position, but he's currently under threat from Moon and Noakes and Roebuck in there as well. Roebuck, I think, is in the white, black and orange Caterham there in the mix in car number 40, in car 74. And also in there was the 42, I think that's Michael Banton. So plenty going on this bottom end of the top 10 already on this 2nd lap of racing. Side by side. Tom Noakes is trying to get through in car number 8, just holding on to 6th position. Roebuck, Banton, Lucas Janaszewski's in there too in 10th position. Harry George, and his first proper fly in that, takes the fastest lap of the race, quicker than leader William James. Charlie Lowe pinches it back now, 56.950. So what's currently a 1.2 second gap, I'm pretty certain with the pace that Charlie Lowe has just set initially, probably won't stay that way. There is Roebuck and Banton. Banton in the 42 car is the one with the white, black and orange livery. Now down onto the back straight. Absolutely, yeah. Still here, the top 2 together, but look at the way in which Charlie Lowe has really closed in here. There's been a change from the lead, so up into the lead has gone the number 17, Harry George. Got past William James, so these two now, again, resuming the battles that they had when they went hammer and tongs at Knock Hill. So they're back at it once again here at Brands Hatch. Here goes William to 2nd place. Charlie Lowe is trying to close in now. He was at least half a second quicker than these two, so we're going to get a 3-way fight for the lead in these early stages of this white group race. Here up the inside looks Harry George. William James will try and give him the room on the outside line, but looks like Harry's got it sorted, and back into the lead he goes. But now look at this, it has brought Charlie Lowe straight into contention here for 3rd position. 4th, Benji Headley. 5th is James Moon. 6th is Tom Noakes. 7th is Gareth Lucas, in fact. Now he started a pretty sweet back start, quite far back in fact. 13th, he's up to 7th place, so cracking start up 6 positions where he began already. So it's looking good so far for him. Come out of the right-hander at Clark Curve, back onto the pit straight. Here once again comes William James. They're going to be side by side. Harry George is going to be trying to go defensive on the inside line, and again on that last lap Charlie Lowe was a couple of tenths quicker, so Charlie will be joining this battle. He's only 4 tenths back, and it is now a 3-way scrap for the top 3 positions. Benji Headley's 4th, James Moon is 5th, Tom Noakes is 6th, Gareth Lucas is up to 7th at the expense, and up the expense of Roebuck in 8th, and up the inside then for 2nd place does go Charlie Lowe, so he's forced his way through, squeezing up the inside of Harry George, sorry, of William James. Harry George is up to, what's the lead now as he holds on, so it's Benji Headley. I'll get these names right eventually. Charlie Lowe is up to 2nd place behind Harry George. William James has dropped down to 3rd place. Benji Headley scrapping away with James Moon. Tom Noakes is 6th. Gareth Lucas is there in, he should be 7th place. And it's Roebuck, Banton and Janaszewski at the top 10. There's Noakes. You see that behind him, Noakes with the 42, which is like Banton. So where has Gareth Lucas got to? Unless he's just in front and he's pulling away. Either way, I think we've lost Gareth Lucas. He's dropped down somewhere. No, sorry, forgive me. He's crossed the line. I expected to be in a different coloured car. I thought he was in blue and orange, but that's with different coloured livery. So into the right-hander at Paddock Hill Bend. Round the outside goes number 50. That is Neil Perry. He's put the move on Anil Patalia. And that's a move for 11th position. So these two are battling just outside the top 10 with plenty of time still to go. 14.5 minutes left in this white group race for the Caterham Academy. Turn in through Graham Hill Bend. Rest of the pack is a little further back now at the moment. I think we need to go back to our leaders because Charlie Lower has actually got into the lead now. So Charlie Lower leads the way from Harry George in second place and William James in third. So the leaders then, who are just coming down the pit straight, I can see out of my commentary box window. Charlie Lower does hit the fastest lap of the race. And for second place, oh, and a big dive up the inside. That was Harry George. Massive move up the inside of the Paddock Hill Bend. He caught Charlie Lower absolutely off guard. He did not expect that at all, but a massive late braking dive up the inside. Charlie Lower says, right, you want to try that on for size? I'll try back round the outside. William James just slides wide at Druids for sympathy. Charlie Lower goes back round the outside, thinking, right, try that one for size then. Have that one. Great stuff. So Charlie Lower, just anything that William James and Harry George can throw at him, he can throw it back and better. So, up towards Surtees. Into the left-hander. The way these cars just glide and swing through these corners, just absolutely on the edge on their suspension, leaning all the way through. Brilliant to watch these cars at speed. So now then, Charlie Lower becomes the man that punches the hole in the air, but he's now coming under threat for Harry George, who in turn is under attack from William James, but it's Harry George going to make another late dive up the inside line. He's thinking about it. Oh, he really thought about it there, but got right underneath the roll cage of Charlie Lower. He's got right underneath the rear wing of him as they come back up the hill towards Druids. He'll look to the outside this time. He will try and go later on the brakes. Just a little twitch of oversteer which will help rotate the car there for Charlie. That won't hurt him too much. Harry George still second. Still third place for William James. Benja Headley still fourth. Moon fifth. Noakes in sixth. Gareth Lucas seventh place. Robert Janaszewski and Bantam round out the top 10. Here comes Harry George. There's that scrap for fourth going on behind, several seconds back. We'll focus on the leaders for the time being. This is where the main battle is towards the front. Between the main two championship contenders. Between the main three championship contenders, of course. On overall points, they're separated by just 7. So it's William James with 119, 116, 115, forgive me, on for Harry George, 112 for Charlie Lower. Harry George now with the fast lap of the race. He'll get the extra bonus points. Across the line they go, and that was that Roebuck. Oh, someone's either run over a piece of bodywork or lost one of their front wings, but I think it was actually Gareth Lucas. In fact, there he is, though. There's Gareth Lucas in car. Forgive me, I keep misidentifying some of these cars. James Moon's in car 97. Gareth Lucas in car 43, so forgive me, it's been quite a long day. So the leaders then out through Graham Hill Bend and back down the Cooper Straight towards Surtees. Harry George is now back into the lead at the expense of Charlie Lower. William James still holding on to third. It's getting a little bit sort of grayer over there. I can't see any sign of any rain coming. Well, it says on my screen, on my weather thing on my laptop, rain coming, but nothing doing just yet. Now Charlie Lower gets back into the slipstream, looks to the outside line, will try and swing down the outside line. Is he just going to put his nose in front? He will, only just. Goes round the outside into Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, he's done it again. That's another great move. He went around the outside at Druids 2 laps ago. Now he's gone around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend. Outside line is this boy's favourite move. I can tell you that now. That's brilliant stuff for Charlie Lower. And again, racecraft, they've been doing it for years. But again, all in their first season of racing. But you would never think it, given the quality of the driving. Oh, a bit of a say that. Bit of a mistake from Charlie Lower, though. Dips a wheel onto the outside curb on the run out of Graham Hill Bend towards Surtees. Harry George says thank you. Back up the inside he goes. And back into the lead goes Harry George. Now William James fancies a crack at this. He thinks, right, anything you can do, Harry, I can do just as well. Let's see if I can have a go at Charlie this time. Looking pretty close. He'll be in the slipstream. And of course, now Charlie, of course, will get the tow from Harry. But then Will get the double tow from the two cars in front. Here goes Charlie Lower again to the outside line. Surely not for the second time in a row. Surely not. Oh, Charlie Lower. It was almost ridiculous. Harry George denied him this time, but he's not afraid to get his elbows out and go for an outside move. Now William James thinks, right, now it's my chance to go through. Back up the inside into Druids. And into, well, almost second place, because Charlie Lower does hold on to the outside line. It puts him on the inside for Graham Hill Bend. Back into the middle of them. He remains in P2. But now, all that battling between those two at that moment, He's put them on the back foot, but again, when there was a touch there, that was a small little touch. I think, again, Charlie Lowe got a little loose on the exit of Graham Hall Bend. It then put him under threat for William James. Just when William went to move out, just ever so slightly, just nipped the rear end of Charlie's car. It won't have affected him in terms of any cosmetic damage. He'll carry on as it was. It was only a half spin. Oh, I think the camera caught something there, either the car spinning or what have you. Just getting back into position. Either way, 9.5 minutes to go in this Caterham Academy white group race. Still George from lower, from James. He's further back in the pack. This is 51 and 50. This is Radford and Perry. So Ray Radford battling away with the 50 of Neil Perry, and this is over 12th and 13th position. They've also got the number 19, which is of Chris Roberts, and they've got Augustine Sayrak behind them as well. This is the fight for 12th down to 15th, so lots of battles going on in the midfield. Usually in the Caterham Academy, no matter what your skill level, you've always got somebody to race with, and that's always a bonus. So good to see that we've got plenty of drivers having some fun out there. Look up there, they're all over the place at the hairpin. That was Ray Radford almost getting it way out of shape, and I'm rather bemused, I'm sure, Roberts and Sayrak just behind him. So plenty of scraps going on between these guys. Out of Graham Hall Bend they go. We've still got 8.5 minutes to go. New fastest lap of the race has been set at the front by Charlie Lower. And William James has dropped back by a couple of seconds now. He's now about 2 seconds back to his lead 2. Something's happened to William as we last predicted that. Meanwhile, we still look at 51 and 50, so Radford and Perry. I wonder possibly, given the fact our leaders are 0.125 a second apart, we can possibly go back to them because they are quite close, I'd imagine. We're going to get a chance for the lead pretty quick. But actually, I can see them out of my commentary box window. They have switched around again. This is further forward a little bit here. This is that's Gareth Lucas. Ahead of James Moon. Right, there's Gareth Lucas's car. Gareth Lucas is black and white. James Moon is in the blue car with the pink roll bar, and Tom Noakes is the mint green machine. This is that scrap between 4th, 5th and 6th, so just outside the podium spots. As they head out to Clark Curve and back onto the straight. This is to complete their 13th lap in the books. And here comes Tom Noakes looking for the move on P5. James Moon shuts the door, but this will give Tom Noakes a chance to get a slipstream again. Looks on the outside under brakes. And again, that's him taking a wide approach to try and get a better run off the corner. Meanwhile, back to our leaders. 7 minutes to go, and it's now Harry George versus Charlie Lower for the lead. As we said, William James has dropped back a bit. He managed to pull back a gap of around about 0.2 of a second or so on the leaders. So he's now been able to get the gap back into 1.6 seconds to second place. There he is in third place, just there. The light blue car with the pink element on the roll bar. But still, George and Lower in this little stalemate here between the two of them. Turns out of the right-hander and down the pit straight towards turn 1. And still the top two nose to tail. Harry George remains in the lead now with Lower just holding him off in second place. Battles literally everywhere on the circuit. Looking at the bank of the cameras, there's still lots going on, including this. The battle for the lead is back on again, and Charlie Lower is back past Harry George again. These two are not going to stop until the checkered flag, are they? They're going at it, hammer and tongs at the front, and that's exactly how we want it. Look at them. Great drive off the corner from Harry George. Uses the small slipstream. Lower says, not in your life. Go around the long way, sunshine. We'll try it. They'll have a go. All over the curves as Charlie Lower trying to defend, and Harry George will see a move somewhere. Try and prise the door open and find the gap to squeeze through. Maybe down the pit straight. This is the perfect chance to get a slipstream. He'll be as close as he needs to be. Which way will he go? Is he going to go inside or outside? He will go inside. And he can only squeeze in so much, can Charlie Lower, but eventually he takes back to the racing line. Harry George breaks that a little bit later, and back into front he goes. Now 5.5 minutes left in this race. Let's see if Charlie's got any more of a response. Under brakes into the hairpin at Druids. Continuing on here as they turn down through the right-hander at Graham Hall Bend. There is William James in third place, a little further back than he'd like to be. Fourth place for Gareth Lucas, who's made some moves. He's got past James Moon, so He's now heading up that pack. He's only about 8.5 tenths ahead of James Moon, so he's still roughly in striking distance for James if he gets back into the toe, but I can't really see him at this point in time being able to try and do that. Harry George has pulled away on this lap. He was only ahead by, he's just behind by 44/1000 of a second on the last lap. Now the gap is up to 0.6 of a second. So as off the road has gone 99. So 99 that's gone off the road is Benja Headley. So he was someone who was towards the front in the mix. He came into the weekend 6th in points. I'm afraid Benja, from what was 9th on the road at that point in time, is off into the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. He's facing the wrong way, so it's obviously been a spin of some kind. I'm not sure if there was contact. We'll have to wait and see. Now, but that is that Charlie Lower's had a mistake? I think it is. Yeah, Charlie Lower's made a mistake, I think. He's had an issue that's dropped down the order. So who's lost out there? I thought someone had made a mistake and had dropped down way down the order, but no, he hasn't. Harry George is still about 0.6 of a second ahead of Charlie Lower there, so he's still holding on. That's 50 and 88, so that was Perry and Sayrak, and I think that was maybe the 27 Patel. I think he was having a scrap with those two towards the front. In fact, it's 20. Let's look at the number on that as it comes past 20. Yes, it is Simon Patel. So he was the one that went spinning across the grass early on to avoid, ironically, Giles Perry. So those two who ended up spinning in simply to each other have now decided to do that. Meanwhile, the checker flag has come out 3 minutes early, which is unexpected, but for whatever reason, Harry George, I think might because of Benja Headley's stuck car, I think. So because of that, the checker flag is thrown early, and Harry George picks up the victory. So Harry George wins by just under half a second from Charlie Lower in second place. But actually, the two leaders haven't taken the flag yet, forgive me. Everyone else has. Interesting. It's showing us George and Lower haven't taken the flag yet, but James and Lucas have, and everyone else has. So what's interesting is, hold on a minute. Now this is interesting. Everyone else is going past. Right, they're showing us haven't finished now. It was a glitch on the timing screen. Forgive me. So George and Lower then did in fact finish the race. I wonder why they were showing us the only two that hadn't finished, that hadn't shown us being able to check a flag against their number on the timing screen. But it was a small glitch on there, so forgive me for that. Harry George then does pick up the win by 0.4 per second from Charlie Lower in second place. It is William James in third. And then Gareth Lucas managed to drive well from deep in the field up to 4th position. Followed by James Moon in 5th, Tom Noakes in 6th, Michael Banton 7th, Mark Janaszewski 8th. It's then the 74 Roebuck in 9th, and then it's Patala 10th. There's the top 10. So George, Lower, James, Lucas and Moon are in the top 5 from Noakes, Banton, Janaszewski, Julian Roebuck and Anil Patala driving well to pick up the final position in the top 10. 11th then was Ray Radford from Chris Roberts and Giles Perry. Neil Perry 14th ahead of Simon Patel. Augustine Sayrak from Lyndon Arnold and Richard Lawrence. Apparently Alan Bateman should have finished 19th, and then it will be Louise Deason who will round out the top 20. And the last two cars are David Saxby, who was the last car classified. Benja Headley sadly ended his race in the Paddock Hill gravel trap, I'm afraid.